Hi there, I'm Lewis, and today we're going to be making historical foods. Hi there, in today's video we are going to be looking at foods from the Industrialization era. This era goes from about the 1860s to the 1900s, and it got its name from the vast expansion of new different technologies made to support this wave of manufacturing. People started to move away from farming as factory jobs started to open up and city life started to expand. During this time, farming dropped by about 40% as people moved to the city and started purchasing foods made from local markets or foods that were processed. It was around this time branded foods started gaining popularity. Things like Kellogg's and Campbell's emerged around this time. The food of this era is defined by meat and carb-heavy foods. Meals often included a lot of starch and carbs as a way to keep you full throughout the day, as well as protein. Meals were also made to be very cheap and accessible, so anyone could really have some during the workday. Anyway, today I'm going to be making Cornish pasties, cornbread, and potato pancakes. So, let's get into it. Cornish pasties are a dish that originate from Cornwall, England, around the 1200s. However, they came to America during the 1840s. Commonly eaten by miners, the pasties were brought over as the miners from Cornwall moved to Michigan. Pasty was a popular dish among workers as the tiny hand pies were easy to store, move around, and eat during the workdays. They were also very filling, as the insides of them are filled with multiple different vegetables, meats, and the pastry crust itself. To make the pasties, blend flour, butter, lard, and water together until they eventually form a dough-like texture. Then wrap it up and chill for about a minimum of 3 hours. Once they've set, roll them out into circular shapes. This takes longer than expected and is also very infuriating. I had a lot of trouble with the pasties. Once they're rolled out, put the fillings in. For this, I'm using beef, Yukon potatoes, yellow onions, and carrots. However, there are multiple different variations, for example, swapping out the meat type or using rutabaga instead of carrots. Finally, fold together the pasty. You can add a little crimp at the end. I only added it for one because it was very hard. And then brush it with an egg wash and bake for about 50 minutes. Cornbread is a dish that has been around for a majority of American history, and it's easy to see why. Cornbread, especially during the Industrialization era, was cheap and an easy meal. Corn was very prevalent and cheap, so it was very easy for people to produce and purchase it. During this era, bread was another important food. Quick breads, yeast breads, and sourdough breads could easily be baked or bought from local shops. Bread was a quick filling snack you could add to breakfast or pair with dinner. To make cornbread, scald milk and add molasses, cornmeal, and whole wheat flour, and then bake it for about 30 minutes. As you can see, this dish is very simple. Along with that, not much goes into it, causing this type of cornbread to be very dense, very crumbly, and very crackly. Very different from the cornbread we have today, which is commonly very fluffy and sweet. The only sweetener used in this one is molasses, so normally cornbread like this would be paired with some sort of honey and butter. Potato pancakes are a very basic and delicious recipe. Potatoes became a common food around this time as they were very hassle-free to grow and they were sold for very little at markets. In addition, they are very starchy foods, meaning that they can be very filling when paired with the right things. Pancake-like meals were also popular as they required little effort or mess. You really just had to fry your food. To make potato pancakes, you grab some potatoes, peel it, and boil it. Once the potato is nice and tender, mash it, mix it with milk, and then form it into a nice little circle. With the circle, just fry the circle for about 2 minutes on each side until crispy. Timer. And there you have it, the Industrialization food. As you can see, all of these foods are very high in carbs and starches, as well as a bit of protein from the meat used in the dishes. This food like this was very important getting workers through the long work days in factories, as we started to move towards factories and away from farming. The move from factories away from farming also created a culture of markets. Markets became really popular around this time, so if you like going to your local farmer's market, thank this era. This era also sparked city living, so thank this era for that too. Anyway, here we got the spread. I already ate some of the potato pancake, but oh well. Let's dig in. Starting off with the pancake. The cake itself is very light and soft. I really like it, and the crispiness of the edge does add just a nice little crunch to it. It's very good. It's very bland and basic. It's really just mashed potatoes and milk, but overall it tastes pretty good, and it's a very filling thing if you could have it in a larger quantity. Next up, we're going to try the insanely dry cornbread. Oh Lord. It's very dry. I mean, the recipe doesn't call for much liquid. It also doesn't call for anything like baking powder or baking soda. So it really is just kind of cornmeal that's been dried out a bit from the oven. It's not bad if you don't like cornmeal. I mean, it's not bad if you like cornmeal. Although I would say that this would probably be good paired with something more moistening like honey or butter. But yeah, it's fine. Dry. We can definitely see the evolution of cornbread as people are able to add more flavors and stuff to it to make it less crackery and rock hard. And then finally, the Cornish Pasty. I don't know, you can kind of see it. It's got all the stuff, so. It's good. I mean, it's really good. Cornish pasty is basically just a little hand pie. I would say for this one, the vegetables all cooked really well along with the meat. Nothing was underdone, nothing was overdone. And the amount of seasoning was nice. And I don't know if you can quite see this, but the crust itself is very flaky, that's supposed to happen in these, so. Yeah, this is good. I can see how people in this era ate food like this, as all this stuff is very filling, if eaten in high quantities, and it's enjoyable. I mean, it's not cornmeal mush or other junk like that, but yeah, it's good. Anyway, here you got it, the new nation era food.